What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster here on the live stream with an update video on this Thursday, May 26, 2022 date. It's about 5:54 p.m. California time. Latest quake coming into the big island of Hawaii. A 2.2 earthquake showing up on the earthquake 3D globe. Also, this earthquake was showing up on the live seismograph station there on the Earthquake Live 3D stream, coming up on the top of this chart here, which is going to be bottom left-hand corner. It's going to be the earthquake activity kind of kicking up here throughout the last few minutes there on the big island, the Leo Permanent station. Leo Permanent, I believe it is. Looks like it's been upgraded to a 2.3. A little swarm of activity kicking up there on the big island. First, I kind of want to talk about something here that quite a few folks may be interested in. A meteor shower. And if you're like me, I am a big fan of the nighttime sky. And I normally don't go out there just for these little 40 to 50 per hour meteors. I don't, that's a little waste of my time. But we could have a potential interesting night coming up here on the 30th. Okay, so these guys have the date here. By the way, the name is the Tau Herculid Meteors. They're talking about maybe we could be producing, these guys could be producing some significant meteors on the night of May 30th, May 31st. So this time right here, 5 UTC time on May 31st is going to be Monday, the 30th, 1 a.m. Eastern time there on the 31st. So ours here along the West Coast is going to be the 30th at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. So I think we're going to have a very significant window here along the West Coast. And I'm sure we'll have clear skies pending no major fires break out. But if you're looking to possibly catch a pretty awesome meteor show, Monday night, 10 p.m. West Coast time is going to be it. You're going to want to look towards the west-northwest area. Looks like duration of the shower unknown. Watch around the predicted peak time. Or for watchers on half the globe, the peak will come in daylight. In that case, watch as close as possible to the predicted peak, either before or after it. It looks like if it takes place, the meteors will appear to radiate from the constellation Bootes the Herdsman, about 6 degrees north-northwest of the bright orange star. Arcturus, somewhere around there. But the thing is, you don't need to find this point, because if the meteor storm does take place, it will be obvious where it's coming from. There will be a new moon come the May 30th date, so the skies will be moon-free with very minimal light pollution. Here it talks about a little bit of the possible meteors in terms of per second. Okay, expected meteors at peak. No one knows exactly, but this could be a true meteor storm. The last one was back in 1966. Meteors fell at rates as high as 40 meteors per second. Now that's cool. I would definitely be out there for that type of event. Looks like people back then felt they had to clutch the ground because the impression of the Earth moving through space. That's pretty crazy. Look up there and feel like we're zipping through the space area. Anyway, this is coming from of course, the Comet 73P, aka SW3. Looks like it left behind quite a few dense particles, icy particles, back in the years 1995, 1897, and 1892. So this is going to be pretty much an all-or-nothing type event. It's going to happen or it's not. There's still a little bit of uncertainty on how intense it will be, but if it does, it should be pretty interesting here. Let's see. If it does happen, we'll see a grand display of meteors, and even if it doesn't, this comet is one you'll want to come to know. Okay. Oh, here they mentioned about this is going to be an all-or-nothing event. If the debris from SW3 was traveling more than 220 miles per hour when it separated from the comet, we might see a nice meteor shower. If the debris had slower ejection speeds, then nothing will make it to Earth, and there will be no meteors from this comet. So, like I said, it's going to be an all-or-nothing event. I find this, I'm going to mark this up on my calendar pretty as a urgent event. I definitely want to get out there and see it. They're talking about possibly, about maybe 1,000 meteors per hour. So that could come out to about 15 per minute. So make sure you guys check that out when it does come up here Monday night. Again, right around 10 p.m. West Coast time, 1 a.m. East Coast time, and then of course in between for your respective time zones. Want to pull up a little match here. Or a little map. Hold on a second here. I'm going to leave this article, folks, so you can read it yourself from earthsky.org. There's a lot of info on it. It does show you the map on where to look. Here's the western sky view. You're going to want to look west-northwest here in this direction from the horizon. And again, 9:45 to 10:17 p.m. on Monday, May 30th, 12:45 to 1:17 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday, May 31st. So late Monday night, early Tuesday morning for the East Coast. Here is a little diagram here of the altitude of radiant at the predicted peak time. So the closer you are to this region here, right around Baja California, it looks like that they have a very good chance of seeing the most, at least according to sunset and whatnot, and position on the Earth and the direction towards that the Earth is facing during the storm, meteor storm. So I think West Coast has a pretty good possibility of seeing that activity. So don't miss out on this this pretty cool event. Once again, it's the Tau Herculid meteors coming up Monday night. Can't wait. Let's go ahead and check out earthquake activity. What do we got going on? Calmed down a little bit considering all the activity earlier this morning. We've seen 3 6s. Well, now can't say that. We've seen 2 6s and a low 7.0 magnitude earthquake. That's a pretty powerful earthquake that struck in the southern Peru area. That one striking way deep into the Peru-Chile Trench at 217 kilometers. We did have some further activity here around the Loyalty Islands area with a 6.4. This one came in originally as a 6.9. That's quite a downgrade from a 6.9 to 6.4. Very shallow earthquake movement there. And then also we had out here earlier this afternoon a 6.2 in the southern East Pacific rise. So that's a lot of activity moving here amongst the plates. We are noticing a little line of activity stretching here from the southern East Pacific rise to the Chile area. I still think we have a good, strong possibility of seeing some subsequent activity at the subduction zone here of the Peru-Chile Trench, probably right around the Santiago, Chile area in terms of large-scale movement. This one here has been building up for a little while, but it's hard to say exactly. Can't predict it. Just watching this pretty closely in terms of large-scale movement and historical information, and slip rate in that area is super duper high. Southern California did have some activity. I'm not for sure how I skipped over this 4-pointer this morning in the update video, but there was a 4.3 south of the ridge, or southeast of the Ridgecrest area, around the Trona, California area. This is just north of the Garlock fault structure. It looks like it occurred, I can't really say exactly which fault system it occurred on, but we had that was a 4.3. Quite a few folks did report feeling it around the Ridgecrest area and Southern California in general. Here's the epicenter of the Red Star. Felt down to Palmdale, Los Angeles area, Highland, Barstow. All those areas reported some weak to light shaking from this 4.3 that came in early this morning. Now, there is some aftershock activity occurring following that earthquake. Looks like... what do we got so far for a tally? At least with regional, we got about 13 earthquakes Again, the 4.3 appears to be the main quake, but you never know in circumstances like this. 2019, early July, we've seen a sequence of somewhat large earthquakes, and it turned out that there was bigger ones coming. So we just never know exactly if this is it. All I know is it was pretty active there this morning. As far as recent activity this afternoon, there's been a couple earthquakes up to the north along the fracture zone of the 2019 earthquakes here, north of Ridgecrest, and low activity up here around the Long Valley supervolcano with a couple threes up here, a couple twos and threes, 3.3 near Big Pine. That's on the Owens Valley fault system, it looks like. Let me see, or in between there. Yeah, it looks like the Owens Valley fault zone, the 1872 rupture area. 100 and something years passed since then, so we know we got strain building up in that area. Long Valley supervolcano, a little swarming outside of Mount Tom region. A couple small microquakes, and getting a little cluster of movement once again here around the Tonopah, Nevada area. Northern California, pretty quiet. Not seeing any quakes showing up there on the map, aside from the Cobb Mountain activity, hydrothermal operation fields out there. A little bit of spotty activity along the San Andreas Fault, and specifically here in Southern California, San Jacinto Fault Zone, still somewhat active today, and this is a region we got to watch pretty closely. This could kick up in a blink of an eye. Got two earthquakes here outside of Brawley. Actually, yeah, looks like right around Main Street. What's cooking out there in Brawley? What are you guys up to? Right there underneath the Main Street. 2.3 at 8.2 kilometers down below the surface. Now, this area is in a major seismically hazard zone. I'm not a big fan of that area. I'm sorry. I was down there last year, and man, not my type of environment, let me tell you. Checking out the Salton Sea and some mud pots and whatnot. It was bad. It was definitely a bad experience. I wouldn't recommend anyone going down there. But hey, got to experience it once, right? 2.3 and a 1.3 within the last hour. Again, got to watch this. It's on the end of the Brawley seismic zone, and that is the extensional fault here of the San Andreas Fault. This one right here, one day we're going to see a big, huge red circle indicating that 8.1 or greater magnitude earthquake here. That will be definitely shaking things up in Southern California. It's just not a possibility. It's definitely a fact. We know stress has been building up here for quite a long time, folks. Well over 300 years of no major full rupture here of the southern part of the San Andreas Fault. Just a matter of time before that thing makes the headlines across the globe. Oregon, pretty quiet. Washington, some movement around Mount St. Helens and the Mount Rainier area. We'll check out the seismographs there at the volcanoes shortly. Yellowstone National Park and some areas around Utah. Some spotty activity. Texas, Oklahoma, not a whole lot of renewed movement here today. Just a couple small microquakes in the region. Over here in the Puerto Rico area, we are seeing a little swarm of activity at the northern end of Puerto Rico. And also here around the Dominican Republic, just offshore there, quite a few twos and threes stretching up towards the Puerto Rico Trench. No aftershock activity following that 7.2 earlier, which is probably not a good sign. It probably means it's not done here along the Peru Chile Trench. But we still got to watch this area. We're getting, like I said, we're getting that little line of activity stretching down here, and that could be pointing towards something. Okay, back into the Fiji Islands area, Loyalty Islands, the 6.4, one aftershock, a 4.7 at the same depth there. Since then, no further movement. This activity here along the Kermadec Trench and the Tonga area all prior to the 6.4. Things pretty mellow and calm throughout the Philippines. One earthquake, the southwest portion of the Philippine Plate, a 4.6. And look up here, nada. Nothing going on. Low activity through China, Middle East, and the Mediterranean Sea, all pretty quiet, folks. Nothing going on throughout the Atlantic Ocean. Hawaii out there, that's the other story. We're getting a little bit of uptick. I've seen it kicking up on the seismographs throughout the day today. I don't think they're reporting all the activity that's kicking up here, but it is what it is, right? Gotta just watch and make sure these guys are reporting the data. If they don't, Really can't do anything about it. That's why I run the live seismographs on this station, on this channel. No major changes here to note at the Big Island, just that little typical swarm on the southeastern ridge, southeastern portion there of the Big Island. One earthquake up here, it looks like, in the Gulf of Alaska. A 2.2 at 6.8 kilometers. And some movement around the Anchorage area south. Looks like we got a little bit of swarming kicking up here around the Fox Islands area. A lot of volcano activity out here. A lot of unmonitored volcanoes. So we'll have to watch that and see what becomes of it. If they're unmonitored, can't really do too much about it, right? Earthquakes Canada. We'll check out these guys, see if they're reporting any activity here around the southern end, or actually this is Pacific side of the plate boundary, right around the Juan de Fuca plate and the Pacific plate boundary. A couple earthquakes kicking up here, 3.5 and a 3.5 at about 10 kilometer depth there, which is defaulted for the typical depth there of those earthquakes. That's about it. Nothing else going on throughout Canada. We got one earthquake here around Toronto, it looks like. 2.1, the latest quake. Ontario region. Okay, tremor map tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Still got a pretty significant number here, folks. 520 epicenters of tremor. Northern California included. And Washington. A pretty significant number. Continues to go. Someone asked if this has ever happened before. As far as like the large-scale amount of tremors since about May, well, what do we have, like 6,000 something? It comes and goes, but it seems like it's coming faster than what it's doing, than what it's going. Meaning these lines are getting more active, closer together in a shorter amount of period. What it means, I don't know. But looking at years past, they've definitely been spread out more. And within the past year and a half, we've seen these things get closer and closer in terms of the multitude of quakes in the short amount of time. Could it be leading to something bigger? The rupture of the Cascadia? You never know. That's why we monitor this activity, and that's why the USGS and PNSN network have all of this equipment here and graphs for everyone to monitor. Let's see here. Let's go over to Yellowstone here real quick. We'll check out the other volcanoes here in a little bit. There is the significant 7.2 that struck in the southern Peru area this morning. A couple other 6-pointers in there as well. Notice the S waves kicking off there in a little squiggly fashion. Far as general earthquake activity here at Yellowstone, there's not a whole lot, folks. No microquake activity. And all this movement that you see here on the map is from the 2 6-pointers today and that 7.2 in southern Peru earlier this morning. All right, let's look at the Mount St. Helens activity, see if we got anything cooking up here. The volcano just got an earthquake notification of 4.0 in the Crow Islands. All right, what are these guys reporting here? Well, again, some earthquake activity. If there's no movement, these lines would consist of just typically this fashion here. Just kind of your typical squiggly line on a seismogram. But there's definitely some microquakes kicking up here. Let's check out the afternoon time frame, hopefully. Da-da-da-da. There's the 7.2. S waves kicking up there in the wavy fashion. There's the 6.4 originally, 6.9 there around the Loyalty Islands, and I don't see the 6-pointer that struck there into the area of the southern Pacific over here. That was a 6.2 at 1810. Let's go back here. 1810. I'm not seeing that. See, around the 1810 UTC time, not there. So, a little odd. But as far as microquake activity goes and general earthquake movement, obviously, folks, we see it there on the graph. A couple of them throughout the last 24 hours or so, 30 hours. And that's been an ongoing deal here for a couple weeks now. Let's see what we got for... let's choose a different... let's go to Glacier Peak. I haven't really checked out... These guys only have one seismograph up there. Must not be of too concern. Let's go ahead and check it out and see what's being recorded here on the one component broadband station. Wow, okay. So, you guys seeing what I'm seeing? There's some earthquake activity here at this volcano. Notice the spikes right here? Let's check out the previous day in or not previous day, but previous UTC time day, which is still our day, but afternoon time frame and morning. It's kind of interesting here. Let's see here. Not for sure what that is. I don't think it's earthquake activity. I believe this is the 7.2. Those looks like some type of errors. Notice the same exact type of signature here. Some outside interference. But there is earthquake activity and microquakes here localized to this seismograph there at the Glacier Peak volcano. See these little spikes? Those are earthquakes. Kind of interesting. I want to check back here the previous day. See, there's that thing, whatever that is, and some more earthquake activity. Earthquake activity localized to the station. Going back here a couple days because this got me curious now. These guys haven't been showing any type of earthquake activity at this station, but I'm seeing it there on the map. Okay. Pretty crazy. Let me double check this here. These guys showing anything over the last 30 days? Nothing. But we've seen it there on the map, so it's hard to say, folks. All I know, I think with this tremor activity, the continual amount of tremor activity, I think we're putting a little tectonic strain here on the western portion of the states, of the North American plate. But also at the same time, I can't help but wonder what we're doing here to the Cascadia subduction zone itself. I think if anything, things getting wound up pretty tight. My GPS stations are currently still not working. Far as the GPS goes, I do have a backup that does monitor GPS stations across the region. There's Three Sisters, Northern California, St Helens. This here is from the USGS. Kind of shows some activity, or at least the GPS stations across the region. But man, they're not as prominent as other stations are, and some of these don't even look like they're working. No data. Let's see what we got. Some of these aren't working either. It looks like they may be new stations that have been added here as far as GPS monitoring goes. A little odd. Okay, let me back out of here and check Northern California. Northern California has quite a bit of uplift here from that ongoing Cascadia buildup. And even these guys aren't working. What's going on here? See, I'm kind of missing the other GPS stations, or the GPS site. So I'll keep checking it, folks. But man, yeah, this is kind of a little disappointing. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna bounce out of here. What are we looking at for time frame here? We got 23 minutes. Kicking up space weather. Looks like things kind of dying off a little bit here. Of course, there is quite a few sunspots on the disk of the sun. But as far as anything significant going on, just got a 5.5 magnitude near the coast of central Peru. That could be some aftershock activity or further buildup along the subduction zone there of the Peru-Chile Trench. Let me check that out here. So look at this earthquake. Let me zoom in here. And yeah, this is still pretty active, folks. I don't think we're over. When we see these deeper earthquake movements down into the subduction zone itself, it's only building up strain there at the surface. I still think we got to watch down here to the south around the Chile area. But just now got a 5.5 at a depth, very shallow, 12 kilometers. Notice that it's right there at the subduction zone of the Peru-Chile Trench upstream from that deep 7.2, and also a 3.8. That was, well, this one's 215 kilometers for that 4.2, but south of this area. So I think if anything, we're still seeing some dipping here in this area, with some shallower surface building up, surface quaking building up from the pressure up here upstream, so to speak. Let's see here. Let's go back and see what we got. See if EMSC is reporting anything different. Looks about the same as the USGS model. No major earthquakes that are missing. They reported that 7.2, 6.4. So, all right, guys. That's a whole lot of movement down here in the southern hemisphere. I'm not even joking, but gotta watch it, folks. Gotta watch and see how this plays out. With some activity in Southern California earlier this morning, and also kicking up. Someone was asking about the timestamps here. Like, when did the earthquake there in California happen? Was it prior to the 7.2? Or was it afterwards? It kind of looks like it was prior. There's a 4.3 in the Ridgecrest area, 0923. And then 3 or 4 hours later, we had the 7.2 strike. It almost seems like West Coast here is saved by all these larger earthquakes that take place around the Pacific Plate and adjacent plates. Kind of seems to be that way. I think when we stop seeing a lot of activity here throughout the region, and West Coast is swarming, that's when that's kind of when I issue those earthquake watches for swarming moments. You know, when the rest of the Pacific Plate and the areas to the south are quiet. But I don't know. We'll keep an eye on this area, see if anything kicks up. It's only got 2 earthquakes here now in the Brawley area. But again, these could pop into some significant swarms. Either way, folks, just be prepared, stay safe, and there's a whole lot coming, I'm sure. But don't miss out on that meteor shower possibility here Monday night. I will be out there myself. I would love to live stream it, but I have no clue how I would, get to get video to show up in the dark. It'd be I'd have to have some type of night vision or who knows what. But I'm definitely gonna be out there with my my camera and get some good photography of it if it does happen. So we'll see. All right, guys, have a good night. Stay safe out there. We're gonna bounce out of here, and again, just be prepared. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Have a good night, everyone. Peace out.